Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Glee being talked about again.
Enough. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Like, listen, I get it.
I lived through it once.
And that was plenty. That was plenty. You know, I even did the cursed thing of rewatching it when I was 19 or 20. Way too late. Not the time. It's over. It's gone. We're done. And now I'm I think that carnal urge in you to rewatch Glee.
Which comes up. I think everyone can be honest with themselves. It comes up. I feel
sure.
It too.
It's a bubbling thing in your chest. You know, it always is just lurking there. Ryan Murphy's spirit and soul are there just taunting you like the devil on your shoulder.
Exactly.
But I think we love to romanticize the chaos of Glee without actually being oh, remember Glee though? Do you remember all of it?
Exactly.
But there was a good tweet that I fully stand by, that if we're talking any sort of reboot, I only want a Glee Project reboot. That's it.
100%.
That's it.
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of the Glee Project erasure. I'm sick of it.
Not a day goes by when I don't think about that beautiful man in his locks or that pasty Irish little shit.
Yeah, right.
They're locked into my brain.
Yeah.
And the songs that they used to make them do.
The sexual tension between everyone.
Oh my God.
And it was a perfect reality show of oh, we want the singing drama of Glee, but also let's let them be real people and have chemistry with each other and fight. I love it.
I don't know if it was The Exorcism or if it was Nightmare on Elm Street. There was something about one of those horror movies where people from the set died because they were using human remains instead of fake bones. That's how I feel about Glee. Is so many cursed things happened to that cast while they were filming that I can't rewatch it because there's something cursed about it.
Yeah.
I regretted it while I was watching it, but I needed to watch it because that's who I was, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't go back. No. I refuse to.
I've grown. I'm different now.
And that's the same thing I feel about, what we were talking about a couple weeks ago about people being oh, well, I'm going to go back to Tumblr because Twitter's gone. It's no, shut up. I'm an adult now. Stop.
I can't do this anymore. We're done.
I'm different now. And we're making a literal Twilight podcast,
Yeah,
so
hey.
Who's the hypocrites now?
Listen, we're here.
Welcome to Into Twilight. We're here and persisting.
Yes.
Even though the world's falling apart.
Yeah.
How are you?
I am lovely. I'm great. I'm here. I'm vibing.
Are you really?
Yes.
Or are you just saying
Yeah, listen, I feel at some point vibing has just become a filler word because I'm am I in my heart of hearts? But you know what? That's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling it. It's been a minute since I've given you a cursed reality show.
Oh, I wish you would.
So I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to give you one.
Thank you so much.
It is called The Courtship on NBC/Peacock. It is a dating show where one woman and 13, 15 dudes or whatever, you would think The Bachelor, kind of similar vibes. Only thing is they are in a castle and have to follow Regency era rules, clothing, and just also and customs to find love the old-fashioned way.
Now, hold on. Okay. Now, are these customs solely for the romance, or are these also for other things like bathing and eating?
Yeah, I think those are normal. I think they aren't making them like be stinky, which I appreciate. But things like, oh, like her parents are there the whole time and making sure
No,
that
stop.
and she has like a royal court of her parents and like her best friend and her sister, and are just there observing and taking notes and being like and talking to the fellas and being like, hey, do you think you will be a good
Taking notes like on their iPhones or on like Quill?
No, just like with their eyes, like just staring daggers into them. And wearing very tacky, off-rip, like, Regency era ball gowns and little suits and stuff. And they, like, have to send, like, letters to each other to, like, communicate. All of their dates are, like, rowing a boat or doing, like, archery or whatever. Any of these things.
Oh, no.
And it is bizarre, to say the least. And this main girl, Nicole, is just like, I'm gonna find the love of my life. And it's been, dating apps suck. You know what I mean? So, like, I gotta go back to the real era of love and true love. And that's this.
Arranged marriages.
Arranged marriages, yes.
For property.
When she, like, eliminates people, they do, instead of like you would expect on something like The Bachelor, they would have like a cocktail party where like maybe they would talk to each other and like air their grievances or like see where their heads at. In this one, they have a final dance.
Oh my god.
She picks like, 3 or 4 people that she's not vibing with yet, and then dances with each one of them, sometimes saying things to them while they're dancing. The only time they can talk to each other is while they're dancing. They can't like pull them aside and be like, hey, I need to talk to you, and just picks which of them she wants to continue and which one she wants to leave.
Okay, well, the problem is that the premise of this is awful, but I'm so curious and I do need to watch it.
It is a mess. It is delightful. It is scary. And there's a lot of strange dudes, as there always are on these shows.
This I do need to watch because I do love a good trash TV show.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm here to serve and to please.
To serve and protect only romance reality TV shows.
Right.
Amazing.
How are you doing, my dude?
When this comes out, I am birthday baby.
Yes.
So...
Yes. It's the season, baby. We're here.
I know. We are officially in Gemini season, so watch out.
Watch out, everybody.
It's definitely fuck around and find out. Which is great. There were so many things that I thought about bringing.
Yeah.
As my happy thing this week.
Sure.
Which is, I can't say every week, I'm going to be honest.
Right.
But I think that, like, I loved the first episode of The Time Traveler's Wife, but I'm holding on bated breath. I'm keeping my expectations low.
Yeah. Gotta protect your heart.
Cody mentioned, gotta always protect my heart. As Cody mentioned pre-record, I loved Harry's new album, but I am still emotionally too vulnerable for that.
Yeah. It's too raw.
So I'm too raw. So what I am bringing to the space is something that I have been looking forward to every Thursday for the past month. And that is another HBO banger. Mm-hmm. And that is The Staircase.
Yeah.
If you need to see just the best ensemble cast, if you need a mini-series to watch, if you love true crime, if you needed, I don't know that I needed this, if you need to see another thing that Toni Collette will traumatize you in.
Yeah, always crucial.
This is it. Here's the thing. I have watched, I think, every piece of media about The Staircase.
Sure, yeah.
Just because it's a really fucked up case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Michael Peterson is just a really shitty person who won't shut his mouth,
right.
Which makes for a very interesting content. And have you watched this, by the way?
I watched the first 1 or 2 episodes. I am not caught up, only because HBO has 7,000 shows that I like watching on Thursdays, so I've
It's
kind of
honestly so good.
I have to like prioritize things a little bit, but I do want to get back into it because I did enjoy what I saw.
Have you watched the documentary about the staircase?
No, I had watched nothing
I
about
think it's
this.
on like Netflix. Okay, here's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
I would pause on HBO.
Yeah.
I would pause the staircase on HBO right now.
Yeah.
And for anyone else who's listening to this, I would pause that and I would watch the documentary on the staircase first.
Okay.
And here's why. It is very focused on Michael.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because I like him. This dude's an asshole.
Right.
I fucking hate this dude. But it's the HBO series is very tailored to that documentary.
Okay.
And we're gonna, it's very intentional. Those two were related pieces of content.
Okay.
So the HBO Max series called The Staircase, they're both titled The Staircase. It's really fucking but the HBO Max team contacted the Netflix team and was like, hey, so we're making a thing about the staircase. And the Netflix team was like, oh my God, love that. Here's all our footage. You can use it.
Oh, shit.
Here you go. And the HBO Max team was like, no, thank you. And the Netflix team, they weren't from Netflix. It's a French team that I think they went on to Netflix. Because it's so skewed towards Michael.
Yeah.
What the HBO Max team did, and they get to this in the later episodes, is they absolutely turn on the Netflix team. And they show how biased and skewed their content was. Ooh. So the Netflix team was like, hey, wait a second.
Hey, I thought we were cool. We trusted you.
It was so focused on Michael because the editor of that documentary is fucking Michael. Like, they're in a relationship.
Oh my God.
And that's why it was so skewed.
Yeah, that's wild.
Towards him. I know.
Yeah.
And so the HBO Max piece gets into that and being like, all of the public thinks that Michael's innocent because they received this content from this lens of the editor who's in love with him. Oh my God. So of course they would.
Right.
And it's so genius the way that they showcase that.
That's so badass.
It's so good because the Netflix team was like, we fucking trusted you. We gave you everything.
Right. How dare you turn your back on us?
Anyways, Toni Collette, amazing.
Yeah, has never been bad in her life.
I usually cannot watch Toni Collette and stuff.
Yeah.
Because Hereditary absolutely fucked me up.
Yeah.
If you are familiar with this case, this is the least traumatizing thing I've seen her do, because I knew what I was going into.
Like, I know what to expect.
She didn't catch me off guard.
Yeah.
So I will say that for anyone who is also in a position that I am, where Toni Collette in a mom role who dies really fucks me up. That is my not sponsored by HBO Max, but will always be sponsored by HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one piece of current events.
We do.
It is movie news. Would you like to tell us about movie news?
We got movie casting news.
Speaking of Toni Collette.
Speaking of Toni Collette, incredible segue.
Thank you.
We got a casting announcement for Bong Joon-ho's next film, follow up to his film after Parasite. And
yeah, weirdly, it's a sequel. I don't know if people...
Right, yeah, could you imagine? Parasite 2. Another one. And we have a casting announcement with Robert Pattinson, which I think we already knew was going to be in that, but now we have more folks in there, which is exciting, including Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo, my dad. And I'm excited. I'm obviously a fan of all of Bong Joon-ho's work and stuff, and also vibing with, I think Toni Collette in the same movie as Robert Pattinson and Mark Ruffalo will destroy me personally.
It's just like, what is Bong Joon-ho? What do you do?
Yeah.
What are you planning?
Right.
You're making me a little bit nervous, sir. But I'm incredibly excited. I also think the other person who's listed, I think is Naomi Aki, who is going to be in a movie this year as in I Want to Dance with Somebody as Whitney Houston.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So I think I only know them from, they were in a Star Wars movie. And I think there was another, I think they were also in Master of None. But I think that's going to be the thing that, like, most people know Naomi in coming out this year. But it's just, like, this casting, because we have, like, Mark, who I know has done, he did, like, a serious mini-series recently. If I'm not mistaken.
I know this much is true. It's so good. He's so good in it.
I need to watch that still, because I was like, oh, this looks like I'm going to cry, so I'm going to not.
Right.
But when I see, like, Mark Ruffalo, I'm like, okay, this is going to be sad. But when I see Tony and I see Robert, I'm like, this is going to be fucked up.
Yeah.
So.
And it looks like it's very sci-fi. Like, it's based off of this Mickey 7, which is a sci-fi novel. And we love...
It's piqued my interest.
Yeah, adaptations from Mr. Bong Joon-ho. He's very good at that.
We've seen Robert in space. We've seen Keisu underwater.
Yes, underwater, yes. We just get all the different sci-fi, like, you know, areas covered.
Yep. We just need to get them all on there. Just collect all the
Yeah,
elements.
we got to get, like, aliens or something, you know, any of these.
Taylor Lautner fights aliens.
Yes, that's the next one. Yes.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Anyone, listen to me, please. I don't even know that they've announced, like, a date or anything for the...
No, I don't think we know
production.
much about it yet, but I am excited for whatever this turns out.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep tabs.
Yeah.
We received an email from our mom, Kelly Beck.
Ah, yes.
And this is just a fun little update from Kelly Beck's work. If I remember correctly, Kelly Beck works in healthcare.
Yeah.
And this email is titled AAPI Month / Twilight Crossover.
Love that.
Piques my interest. Dear Allie and Cody, as if you needed more evidence that Twilight is indeed everywhere, my company had a DEI event for AAPI Month. One of my coworkers is really involved in this event. Oh no. And when I got there, of course, there was a pianist playing River Flows in You
Oh my
by
gosh.
Yuruma. I immediately thought of y'all and had to let you know this happened. Get
Incredible.
I would have been on the ground. Code blue. Gone.
It's over.
I must have said this, I think, at some point in this show, because that is how we are at this point. But back in a time pre-Spotify, when I was only listening to stuff on my iPod, which rip, by the way.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Pour one out. That River Flows in You was the most played song on my iTunes library.
Yeah. Oof.
It had like 20,000 plays or something, because I used to just go to sleep to it and like let it play. It was like before I knew what like white noise was. I would just like precariously set my laptop up on my nightstand in high school and just have it on repeat.
Oh my gosh.
From the speakers. That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah. That's some, yeah. Oop. That's a tell.
Anytime that I hear that song now, I like immediately go into this like calm Zen state.
Right.
It's really weird. But thank you for sharing that. That is very beautiful.
Yeah, we love to see it.
I am excited to talk to you about these chapters, but I'm also very nervous.
Yeah.
So that is where I am entering into this.
That's
today.
the energy today.
What I remember from last week is Sydney bought a car and was very happy about it.
Yes.
Rose got into said car, immediately relinquished her duties, and fell asleep. Just immediately asleep. Then they got to small town.
Yes.
The strangers that were there. They were like a couple of hours from Dimitri's hometown. And Rose fought to Strigoi with help of like hundreds of spirits, and then got super tired and passed out.
That's the vibe. That's the energy.
Oh, and she woke up in the arms of Dimitri's mom.
Right. crucially, what happened there?
The important part.
Yeah. So
where are we starting off?
We're starting quite immediately after of being like, hey, what is happening? Because, you know, Rose is being like, this is not what I was expecting out of this. Obviously, she came to find Dimitri and kill him, and she's like, I kind of have an even better situation right now where I'm at least I'm literally here with his family. Like, this is wild. Like, this seems a little bit more helpful, maybe. I could sort of narrow down the search or whatever. But now she realizes she's in Baia, which is like the town or whatever, being like, okay, we're here, Dimitri's mother. Apparently, her and these folks like kind of drove her out these guardians and stuff drove her to this place to like heal her up after she got so fucked up in that fight. And Dimitri's mother is like a doctor and like a healer. I do appreciate too that Rose at some point is like, wow, she's like has a knowledge of healing, not just like in a magic sense, but like actually medicine. Like she's like, oh, she's like an actual doctor. Like she's not just magic, which I thought was very funny.
I love Dimitri's mom. I love that the two main things we know about her is that she is like actually medically trained.
Right.
And that she reads like adventure novels.
Oh my god, yeah. She has like so many fun little books. Like just an energy that's so lovely. And Rose is freaking out, understandably, because she's like, oh, this is like the house where Dimitri grew up. Probably, even though he hasn't been here in a long time, like there's still like, you can imagine him going through the books and on the banister and all these things and just like looking at everyone and all these things that are like breaking her heart more and more, which is fucked up.
It was one of the things that really... Frere Rocher does a lot of heartbreaking in her texts. One of the things that really fucked me up in this chapter specifically is that it's not just Dimitri's mom, but it's all three of his sisters with their kids and his grandma. The whole gang is here. Later. It's just, all the women of Dimitri's family.
All Dimitri's ladies.
And Rose described, and we know Rose, she's got problems with women, specifically women in authority.
Right, yes.
And one of the ways that she describes it is she says it's like a house of mirrors. And they're all just like distorted reflections of him. And I was like, hey, no. No, thank you. Because I can just imagine that like, as soon as she was, I think Elena is her name. Yeah. Elena's like, damn, you healed fast.
You did, you're kind of wild.
Like, you recovered pretty fast. And Rose is just there the next morning just, like, inhaling these, like, crepe kind of things. And just being, like, super amazed by the fact that she's here and found them, but also, like, everything about this hurts.
Right.
So
and like,
much,
what does it mean? Like, what do people know? Like, all of these questions of freaking out and being like,
because they seem fine. They're not like grieving.
Right. They're not like indisposed. They're all just doing their thing. And Rose is like, I'm sitting on this and I don't know what to do.
I'm just going to eat these crepes.
Right. I'm just going to eat these cool crepes. So we find out more about this Abe guy who was apparently one of the folks with Sydney that brought Sydney's here too still just hanging out, that brought Rose to Elena to get attention, and he is a Moroi, this Abe guy, and apparently had like multiple guardians with him, which Rose seems is like kind of a red flag because she's like, he's not royal, so that doesn't really make a lot of, like, that's a little unconventional to have.
Yeah, she's really sussed out by that.
You know, it's just like, what's going on there? And it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll find out later what that means. Next question.
Yeah.
Let's just think on
Which
that.
we sort of do.
Right, exactly.
What I love, there's a lot of heartbreak in these 2 chapters this week. And a lot of grief. But I think one of the things, and I think this happens a lot with grief, is like there's also some normalcy too.
Yeah.
And I think what I love most is I think it's Paul and I think it's Carolina too. Maybe it's Carolina. Who are like, so anyways, did you kill the Strigoi by yourself? Like, who are you? What's your story? And I love that, especially Paul, who's like young enough that he doesn't really understand any sort of severity and is like, so tell me everything.
Yeah. It's like, so you kill people? That's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of sick. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And like, Carolina's like, you can't just ask people that. You gotta be nice.
But I love Paul. I love him.
Paul is so
He's great.
cute. I love it.
On the opposite, and then I think they also start saying, like, Elena finally realizes that I think Elena and Carolina start realizing, like, that in order to do that, Rose would need training.
Yeah.
And also she's American. And they're like, so where, like, what school did you go to?
Yeah.
Like, where'd you graduate? Like, normal kind of surface level questions.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that Rose doesn't really have a lot to say there that she wants to say anymore.
Right, yeah, just being very reserved about all of it so far.
She's like, I'm just looking for someone.
Yeah, it's like, I'm on a mission. Don't worry about it. It's cool. We don't need to talk about it. Don't worry. And then we get Yeva? Yeva?
Yeah, I think it's Yeva.
Yeva sounds right.
Grandma is my favorite character.
The fucking energy on this woman could kill a person. In a very she like struts in, it's just like this, you know, witchy energy, you know, has this just like no fucks given, also is
under 5 feet
and just like can call out your bullshit or sense it, or doesn't call it out, but she just is listening and is like, I'm gonna remember that because that's a lie, you know. Like, you can say whatever you want.
She's just like speaking under her breath,
right?
And it's just like, what you said was a lie.
Yeah, and she's notably the only person in the household that only speaks Russian, like does not speak English at all, which is adding to the mystery layer of Yeva, which I love.
Yeah, it's unclear if she understands English or if she's just like reading off of vibes. It could be both.
Yeah, honestly. I also feel like she definitely could just know English and just not want to speak it, which I also respect heavily.
I love that.
You know, because that's a power move for sure.
100%. Yeah, I love her energy. She is my favorite person. I love her and Paul. They're great.
Yeah, just Dimitri's family, great. All bangers, you know.
And honestly, explains a lot of who he is, which I appreciate too.
Yeah.
And I also love that Rose is like, well, this woman's definitely gonna find out who I am,
right?
And what
I gotta get out of here.
So I gotta get the fuck out of here.
It's like, can we do a little tour? Can I take a little walk around? You know? And
Victoria, you want to give me a tour? Great.
Let's go. Bye.
Let's go.
Everybody. Bye.
Just leaves a Looney Tunes.
Yeah, like cloud of dust in her wake. Yeah. So they're like walking around downtown by seeing the sights.
Rose is like geeked out because it's a real town.
Yeah.
And that's not what she was told about these
Right. She's like,
places.
I've been in places that have one gas station and like a car, you know, forever. And now I get to see this fun little energy town. Like there's a lot of things going on, a lot of great vibes. Fabulous.
Well, they always described these like Hampier places as like villages.
Right.
You know? And she's like, what the fuck? This is like it's not a rural camp. It's not a farm settlement. There's humans that are living here.
Right.
It all seems normal.
And it's not like the spooky, quote unquote, blood whore commune, whatever. That's like the legend that everyone's kind of been saying of like, ooh, spooky, don't go there, you know. But it's not. It's like a real...
Rose is very quickly realizing everything that she was told was a lie.
Interesting.
Why?
I wonder what that means. Anyway.
Let's not deal with that now, Rose.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
This interaction between Victoria and her friend / the guy who is like obsessed with
her friend, wink wink.
Right.
Yeah, this guy is fully in love with her and she's like, no, we're friends.
Oh, Nikolai? Yeah, he's just my friend.
Yeah, no, he's cool. Yeah, their interaction is very good. Rose spends a lot of time thinking about school breaks, which is weird. It's like, didn't need this amount of detail, but thank you.
But thank you.
They go into this like remote school that's like 3 hours away. It's like super tiny, and whatever. And apparently there's this, you know, from Yeva's perspective and in the family, there's very like very specifically gendered norms of guardianship and women specifically. And you can get a taste that Victoria like would maybe wanna, but like, you know, has never even considered or thought about it because of these like very patriarchal norms of like the woman stays at home and does all the things while your men go out and fight the big bad vampires, you know.
Yes. There's also this moment when they're talking about guardians where Nikolai and Victoria use or say a word that Rose hasn't really heard of before, which is unpromised.
Yeah, ooh, yes.
And Rose's, and that is something where it's like, you are a guardian, you've killed before, you have the marks,
yeah.
But you aren't sworn to someone.
Right. And aren't
So
like
you
bound
are a
to
guardian,
the
but you
school
aren't
specifically too. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of on your own, like a rogue.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I guess that's what I am.
Right.
And they say like, that's not normal. Like, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that's true. It's pretty strange where I come from, too.
Right. Like, you're not wrong. I know what I am.
And she's just not really able to say that, like, she is promised
Right.
to someone. Because that would mean she has to tell them why she's here. So.
And then Nikolai, like, leaves, does his little thing. And they're kind of walking.
He's like, I love you,
Or
bye.
bye. They're kind of walking back and stuff. And Victoria starts kind of pressing. Or not pressing, but being like, oh, well, I have a brother. And he's also in the States. We haven't really heard from him in years, you know, but we love him, all these things. And Rose is like, I can't do this. And like disassociates for a few minutes while.
Oh, yeah, because Victoria's like, oh, yeah, like
he's
I have,
pretty
like, a lot of
cute.
sisters. He's pretty cute. Like, Paul looks a lot like what Dimitri did at that age.
Yeah.
Like, I can show you more photos. And Rose was like, actually, I'd rather die.
Right.
Thank
It's like,
you.
actually, great. Thank you for suggesting that. I'm going to jump off this bridge, actually, instead. And Victoria notices that Rose has just checked out of the conversation, just fully glass eyes, like nothing going on. And she's like, are you good? And
hey, I don't know you.
but it seems like you're freaking out.
Yeah.
And Rose is like, yeah, you're so true, bestie. I need to tell you guys something. Let's go.
I need need to sit down with
sit down with the fam and break some news here. And she's like, okay, let's go. And this scene is dramatic.
It sucks so bad.
It's so
because Rose is trying her goddamn darndest to just choke this out.
Right.
And we've just met these women.
Right.
And yet it is their personalities feel so clear.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they mention, like, I think it was Dimitri's mom who's like, St. Vladimir's, like, yeah, we know what that is.
Right, like, that's cool.
Where you've been.
Right. Yeah, they keep just, like, interrupting her, which is, like, kind of, I get what they're coming from, but they all seem like they're always bustling, they're always talking over each other, you know. That's the family vibe, it seems like. But Rose is on the brink of tears, trying to, like, convey some very important news and very sad
Eva's
news.
just staring straight into her soul.
And they're just like, oh my god, St. Vladimir is so sick. That's cool. Is that where Dimitri was? And she's like, you guys, can you let me finish? I need you to...
Like, we totally heard about what happened there.
Right.
That's where you were? That's where Dimitri was?
And she's
like,
yes,
ladies.
Guys, you don't understand. And she finally is able to spit it out of being like, Dimitri was very heroic and went out to rescue some people and got overtaken. And everyone's just like whispering and like freaking out and whatever. And they're like, oh, he's dead. She's like, well, I mean, no, it's worse, actually. He is a Strigoi. Bum, bum, bum.
And it would have been so easy for her to just confirm. Like,
right.
I think it was Elena who had said, maybe it was Victoria, I don't remember. One of them had said that.
Right.
Like, naturally came to the conclusion that Dimitri was dead. And it would have been so easy for Rose to be like,
yeah, for sure.
Because I think she even said, like, that's what the school would have said.
Yeah.
Just to save them the pain. And it took so much bravery, really.
Yeah.
To be like, nah, he's not. And it hurts so goddamn bad that she just has to sit there and watch them all grieve when she really hasn't let herself do that.
No, not at all.
And if she did, one, they'd probably think it was inappropriate. And they don't know
their relationship.
They just thought they just thought he was her teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
So chapter 8, we're still deep and fresh off the news, grieving, everyone's sad. And like the air in the room is just gone. Like it's very still. But then immediately after that, Yeva and Elena are just like, all right, let's go. Funeral planning time. Let's do it. And just like running around speaking Russian, you know, making plans, making phone calls, you know. Rose.
I mean, Rose knows how this is.
Yeah.
Let's not grieve. Let's just
typical, you know, matronly vibes of being like, all right, next thing, we gotta go. It's time to plan. Someone makes some phone calls. Rose has a nice little conversation with Sydney here.
Yeah, weirdly, Sydney's being nice.
Yeah, Sydney's being nice for the first time in her life, which is nice for her. And she's like, hey, I was kind of a bitch to you this whole time, and maybe still now. But you know what? I didn't realize that you like had feelings and that like you could have emotions and you were like carrying a burden like this whole time. And that sucks. So that's on me. I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Sydney has this like revelation in this chapter that one, Rose can have feelings, and also that Rose is really like polite and tries to make people feel good,
right, and comfortable,
and that that kind of throws Rose for a loop because
she's like, me?
Me? You think me? I'm polite and kind? Me?
Yeah.
Have I been fucking up? What do you...
Right. Am I losing my edge?
What have I done wrong to make you think that?
Right.
But I did think that was very kind, because I think that Sydney, whether it's what she was taught or what she has seen, but her feelings on Hampiers and Maroy have been very, really like one-dimensional, and she's realizing that's not how they work. It's not how life works.
No, it does not. We also get more info about this Abe guy.
Yeah, this fucking dude, I don't know, man.
I got bad vibes from this fella. Because apparently, you know, he's like the main reason why, like, or there was orders, right, for Sydney to take Rose to where she wanted to go, right? We never knew why or what that was or what the whole energy of that was.
Right.
But this Abe guy, he's not a royal, but he's like super important in everything.
Yeah, he's like a mob boss.
He's like a mob boss, always fucking around in Russia, you know, doing big illegal money moves.
Doing deals.
You know? And he also seems to control a lot of, with his power, like a lot of the alchemists in the area to kind of do what he wants.
Because
Yeah.
Sydney says that he's, for some reason, involved in the process of making their tattoos.
Right. Yeah.
For whatever.
Which, don't like that.
So that sounds not great.
Right.
But people call Abe Zmay, which means snake in Russian.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
Yeah, not a good precursor to the character of this man. Yeah. Not a good indication there.
And it's not just like a garden snake, but like a mythical...
Like all the snakes in mythology that have done bad things and have fucked things over.
Yeah.
Which
is wild.
Yeah.
But anyways, whatever. Apparently he's been like searching for Rose, which is one of her like greatest fears.
Yeah, and like on someone else's behalf that she doesn't know, you know, and nobody knows.
Because she knows Lissa isn't searching for her. She knows fucking Adrian isn't searching for her. So why? And also
and whom's?
Because that's not great.
Right, because Rose is also like, it could be someone who's trying to get me back, but it also could be someone that wants me dead. You know, like someone who wants me to just stop doing whatever it is I'm doing.
And why would she have any reason to think that it's not nefarious?
Right, you're right, exactly. All of these you know, things feel very sketchy, so seems pretty plausible.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
This weird, I mean, I understand why Rose did it, because there's a lot of painful stuff that's happening with them planning the wake. Yeah. But I felt like this moment flashing back to the school was not necessary.
It didn't really fit you know what I mean? Like, it just felt like out of place, where these two chapters act really good on their, or in connection with each other, obviously, of this whole new situation and understanding of grief and processing and all this stuff. And it feels like you're kind of just like taken out of that when you go back to a flashback, and like you don't need to like check in on Lissa every chapter. It doesn't like feel super necessary, but maybe they're just like, we now to see what's going on with Avery and all those things. But like it's just like setting up things that will probably be relevant later, but like the timing doesn't feel all that right. or
agree.
necessary.
It feels confusing.
Right.
Especially when the conversation is very much a, like, Avery being naturally curious about Lissa and Christian's relationship.
Right.
When all that she has heard from the Queen's side of things is that Lissa and Adrian are a thing.
Right. Which is not true.
Which is not true, and has been a common topic, like, throughout. Like, we know this.
Right.
already.
And a big frustration point of Lissa, but, like, this doesn't need to be now, you know, because really all that we get out of this is that, like, Lissa's still pissed about being the Queen's bitch, which, like, understandable. And that Avery is thinking about Adrian in a way, you know.
Yes.
That's really all that we learned from this. And it's like, that could have been
And I feel like that would have
somewhere
been,
else. Anywhere else.
It could have been somewhere else, and I feel like we could have, as readers, kind of gone to that conclusion, since Adrian and Avery are more aligned age-wise.
Right, yeah.
Did I think it was funny that Avery was like, why do you just hang around a school?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I just felt like it was kind of wild that was being paired with Rose's extreme amount of grief right now.
Yeah. Doesn't really seem
just a weird
like
tone.
the place.
I agree.
But, like, whatever,
But I'm
Rochelle.
glad someone finally said it.
Yeah, Avery needed to at least pull the hammer down a little bit, you know?
She's just the audience surrogate who's like, why do you just hang around a school?
Right.
You're not going to classes?
Yeah, he was hanging out.
You're not-
Seems like a weird thing
not-
to do.
Reliving your glory days?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird thing,
Yeah.
dude. This service, and I think this is something that Rose had said to Sydney earlier, is Rose finds it confusing because, like, he's not dead.
Right.
Is still beautiful. Especially because, like, and also kind of impressive, to be honest, that, like, in a matter of maybe a couple hours, theoretically the whole town shows up.
Right.
And it's also hard,
Yeah.
though, because, again, Rose is, like, out of place here, and isn't able to say, like, hey, that's my boyfriend, can I be here too? And she just has to kind of, like, sit on the edges of this whole thing, which is just so awkward. Just sitting there with Sydney, and it's like, Sydney's not gonna be comforting.
No.
God. It's just painful.
Yeah.
Painful thing to see. But it seems like there's a lot of people that are there for Dimitri's family, which is really what matters.
Yeah.
So.
And she's like, you know what? They can have their moment, and it's a beautiful send-off. And, you know, they don't, like, and Sydney brought this up in the earlier chapter of, like, they're not going to acknowledge the in-between of what a Strigoi is. You know, like, in the in-between of life and death that a Strigoi inhabits. It's one or the other. And obviously that distinction is very important for Rose. But for his family, like, doesn't really carry the same weight and is as if he's dead, and they should honor him as that. And Rose is like, okay, it still hurts me,
Must
though.
be nice.
Gotta be nice, but...
The end of this chapter, though, is pretty interesting. Because this motherfucker, Abe...
Yeah.
Shows
Like,
up
hey,
at the
bestie.
service, and Rose recognizes him. And I don't know from what, which is interesting.
Right, but there is a familiarity, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of spoopy. I'm wondering if maybe it's from the club or something.
Yeah, that probably
But I don't know.
makes sense, given, like, the nefarious nature that he apparently has, you know.
Yeah. Little rat.
Little fucking rat.
Just a little fucking sewer rat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I am curious about this dude. But I don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust this man
trust him.
at all. Bad vibes.
But I think that I'm just sad.
Yeah, it's just like, emotional whiplash.
And it's just still the start of the book. Like, I think we're just past 100 pages.
Oh, my
and it's
God.
like, what? How do we still have, like, we're not even in it.
Yeah,
really.
how much more trauma can we pack in here?
I don't even want to taunt.
I know, just retroactively. She adds more to spite us.
She's like, you know what? Actually, fuck you.
I've been thinking about writing a
take it
very
all.
sad addendum, so let's me just going through all of these books.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't even want to taunt her with it, but there's chapters 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just cruising through. That's the benefit of these books. They're just a quick little cruise through,
Yeah.
which is great. I love that. We have some amazing patrons to thank. Would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Katie Black.
Ooh. Thank you to Kylie Minton.
Thank you to Alex Dornan.
Thank you to Carrie Goldberg.
Thank you to Rebecca Cullen.
Ooh. Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia.
Thank you to Cassandra Bomer.
Ooh. Thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Thank you to Cassandra O'Shea.
O'Shea. Thank you to Clara Bellicott.
Thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh. Thank you to Hannah Dragomir.
Ow! Ooh, ooh.
Oh.
Thank you to Hope Castile.
Ooh. Thank you to Rachel Ashford.
Thank you to Maddie Facinelli.
Ooh. Thank you to Samara Rinaldi.
Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ooh. Thank you to Tess Avery.
Thank you to Danielle Burke. Ooh.
Welcome to the
New
family.
upgrading family. Welcome. You're here.
Welcome. Oh shit. Okay. Thank you to my mom, your mom, our mom,
Ooh.
Kelly Beck.
Hell yeah. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Thank you. We got immediately sued. Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Woo. Thank you to Laura Forty.
Thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh. Thank you to Maria Swan.
Thank you to India Peach.
Ooh. And thank you to Emily Ozera. Ooh. So I have a fan fiction here. This was sent in by Indy Peach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is called The Late Shift, and it was written by After I Wake. This is a wild little crossover here, of Sherlock and Vampire Academy.
Okay.
So, do with that what you will. The summary of this is: one night, Molly is working the late shift at the medical clinic when Rose shows up with a rather unusual request. She'd gone through what had to be the 15th paper when she heard a pounding at the clinic doors that gave her a start. She pushed away from her desk and hurried to the doors, looking out at them. Even though the clinic was open to any of the displaced at all hours, that didn't mean it was unlocked at all hours. That would have been foolish, with all of the things the seal liked to throw at them. But the only person on the other side of the door was Rose, who looked rather roughed up. Molly quickly unlocked the door, and Rose came in. "I need some chloroform," she said, getting her request out in between heaving breaths. Molly gave her a curious look. "Why exactly do you need chloroform at 2 a.m.? I may have gotten into a scuffle, and I may have a tall, dark, and ugly thing I need to make sure stays knocked out. Well, while I take it to Dean or Sam or Bobby or some... Wait a second. They did not say it. Okay. Molly's eyes widened and she nodded. I have chloroform, but I also have injectable sedatives and a few other things that might do the trick, she said. She took a critical look at Rose. And I'm going to have to insist I take a look at you. I'm cool, Rose said, shaking her head. I insist, Molly said, her tone a bit more insistent. Rose looked over at her, then gave her a bit of a defeated look. I look like shit, don't I? End scene.
Damn.
There are so many fandoms just like thrown together.
Right.
Here. Just a weird little hodgepodge.
Yeah, I'm into
going
it.
on. Also, Rose Hathaway slamming up against the door, being like, chloroform, please.
Right.
I need it. Instead of her just being like knocked out because she tripped on a molding bench is a nice change of pace. What a wild piece of literature. We have so many pieces of television that we have recommended to you all.
Yes.
What we need from you all is to give us a suggestion for our May bonus Jonas.
Yes.
So send that in to us.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, tell your friends so that they can get caught up on our show.
Yeah.
And our book that we're reading. And as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
Get bit.
And get whipped.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.